Hi there, it's Laura here from Get Organized HQ, and I want to share my goal setting system that is specifically for those of you who've tried traditional goal setting and it just hasn't worked. Either you struggle to actually set the goals, or, as was the case with me, I was very good at setting the goals, but I never got even like 20% of them accomplished. So if that is you, listen up. I'm going to share with you a system that is really simple where you can actually accomplish your goals. First, I really can't believe some of the conventional goal setting advice that is out there because it didn't work at all for me. And when you really think about it, there are some reasons why. Now, of course, I want to say that if this works for you, great. There's nothing wrong with it. There is just a lot of people that it doesn't work for. And so often you'll hear this idea that you should set your long-term goals and then kind of break them down from there. So start with like your 10 to 15 year vision, and then we're going to go down to like, okay, let's break that down, like what I want to have done in 5 years, and then break that down by year, and then break that down into months, and then weeks and days and so on. And while I am totally on board with the idea of beginning with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey famously said, and of thinking about where you want to go and thinking about who you are and making sure that your goals really align with that, I am 100% like that, do that, yes. But where I think this fails is that while, yes, I do want to think about the future and what I want to become, and I don't want to only ever think about the next day, week, or month, but where that fails is when you're breaking things down. So, I want to get here and it's going to take a lot of steps, and then I'm going to map those out. So a lot of times you might sit down at the end of the year and you're going to plan for next year, and you're going to break it down by month. But I seriously, on December 26th, when I sit down, I have no idea what's going to be going on in October, November, December, what world events, what life events. Not only that, but I don't know what I will have accomplished to that point. So if I was breaking it down and I was going to be like, I want to write a book and, I want to come up with the title in January, and I want to come up with the outline in February, and I want to write 5 chapters in March and so on. And then my goal for October is to write chapters 50 to 55, but yet I only have chapters 1 to 5 written, that's not going to work very well. So I don't know who knows that. So it's impossible to stay on track. And then I find it very discouraging when I have to constantly revamp. I messed up again. I didn't get this done again. So I've got to revamp everything. And that just increases the temptation to throw in the towel, which is really the only way that you will never make progress. You can make slow progress, minuscule progress, but as long as you keep up with it, you'll still make progress. The only way that you stop is when you actually throw in the towel. So you need a system that allows you to dream big and to think about the future and break it down in a way that you can't get behind and you're not expected to know the future. And that is totally what this system does. There's literally not a way to get behind. It's built into the system. So it's a very encouraging and motivating. And we also start every single month with a clean slate. So when I'm deciding when I'm going to do something and what I'm going to do that month, I'm only ever looking up to a month ahead. So I'm not looking out way beyond that. And so it's much more realistic and achievable. I also take a little bit of issue with the concept of SMART goals. So you've probably heard that acronym. They need to be specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and time bound. Now, a lot of this makes a lot of sense. Obviously, your goal needs to be specific or you're not even going to know if you've met it. Yes, it needs to be attainable. If all I've ever done is run 5K, my next goal would probably not to be to do an ultra marathon. I really like a lot of the SMART goal concept. But where I start to take issue with it is the idea of time bound. And maybe it's not this system itself. Maybe it's just the way that a lot of people end up using it. Because when I am sitting down to write my goals, a lot of times I'm really in dream mode. I am dreaming big, I am thinking big, and I love that. Keep doing that. And I am writing all my goals and I'm feeling, really ambitious. And that is not the time that I want to be constraining myself with thinking about when I'm going to get it done and trying to figure it out. That's the time that I just want to get all of my goals and my thoughts out on paper. And so I don't think that is when I should enter the time for completion into the equation. Also, I don't know about you, but I really have a lot of areas that I need to improve in. I guess I have a lot of issues. I need to work on a lot of things. Rarely is there just 1 or 2 areas that I want to work on. Rarely is there just I only have a couple things I want to do. I have a lot, and I want to get that all out on paper. I don't want it swirling around in my head. I want to know that I have those things written down and I'm gonna get to them. And so when I'm writing down all those things, there's no way that it would be reasonable to take those, however many things it is, and put a time on all of them. And this system allows you to be more flexible. There's a lot of systems that are kind of designed for you to take like a whole day, like go on a little retreat or a week or two to set your goals. And really, I don't have that much time, and I don't think it needs to take that long. So for me, it just takes an hour or two to sit down with like a mug of hot chocolate. I'm not really a coffee drinker, so I get my hot chocolate, I sit down and I can open up my tool and I can fill it out in a matter of just an hour or two. So it's not something that, to be effective, you really need a whole lot of time devoted to planning your goals. Now, I don't want to leave you with just a whole bunch of general advice. I want to show you an actual example because I think you'll understand it more. So I'm going to share with you my own personal goals, and I'm going to walk you through it in the tool that I've designed to go with this system, our Get Organized HQ Planner. Now, if you want this tool, click the link below. You can either get it now or get on the wait list if it's not quite available, depending on when you watch this. And I also want to emphasize that if you don't have this tool, that's okay. You can actually do this in a notebook. I don't want you to use that as an excuse to not get started. It totally works. This tool is really nice and makes it easy, but you can also use a notebook or whatever you have. So let's go ahead and dive in. So I'm going to walk you through the planner here that has all the prompts to get you started on this system. So first we have a title page, and I want to tell you something here that is really important, and that is this planner was intentionally designed to get messy. I don't want you to wait until everything's perfect, until you have the perfect pen and you have your favorite mug of tea or hot chocolate or coffee or whatever you drink. I want you to go ahead right now, the second you receive the planner, get out whatever pen you have and write your name in it. That's the first blank in there, and you should be able to write who it belongs to. I recommend your name and maybe like your phone number or something, just in case it gets lost and someone finds it. So that should be pretty easy, right? And then we just have a little note of encouragement from me to kind of show you how to use it and encourage you along the way. And then we have our About Me page for the beginning of the year. And this one, the reason I included this page is because actually it gives you a lot of prompts, so it's fairly easy to fill out. And it kind of gets your mind started without too much complication in that kind of mind frame of thinking about yourself and your goals and things like that. So you can just start by filling out these different prompts. I mean, the first one, okay, your name. You can all do that, right? And then some different things about you, your top talents, who you're closest to, things you like to do in your downtime, what's important to you. There's little check boxes. Personally, I find the check boxes easy because then I don't have to come up with my own words. I can use the check boxes, and there's some blank ones if you do have things that you want to add. And then we have the next page you'll complete at the end of the year. And I really like these two pages as a little synopsis to come back and compare and see where you're at the beginning of the year versus the end of the year. And also, while I don't save all my planner pages, if I were to save some, I would really like these as the little snapshots. So that's all you're going to do. Then we also have the years at a glance, and we get into the goal setting workbook that's at the beginning. We actually walk you through exactly how to use it, which I love. The instructions are right there. It's very simple, and we'll walk you through it. So if you have watched this video and you don't really feel like you remember everything, you can just look right here in the beginning and it will tell you what you need to do and show you how to use it. There's also some space for some notes and thoughts. So often I just write random notes and thoughts that I'm having as I plan the year and kind of use this as brainstorming area. Then we get right to the meat of the system. So here you'll see that we have a layout for each focus area, and we have an option for you to pick up to 6 focus areas. I want to say here, that does not mean you have to pick 6. It does mean you should not pick more than 6. It's just going to be too hard to keep track of if you have like 15 focus areas. I've seen some complicated systems. 6 is as much as you need, but if you only feel like you want to focus on 2, 3, 4, that is totally fine. So you'll pick what your different areas are. Also, this is my personal favorite, and tons of people have told me that they love these. These are color coded. So focus area 1 is this bright pink. 2 is what I call a mustard color. Let me know what you would call it. 3 is what I call an aqua color, but there is some debate on whether that's teal or aqua. If you have an opinion, let me know in the comments. I'm really curious. And then like this blush color, navy, and then the last one is lavender. And in this planner, we have a bunch of stickers in the back. We have 4 pages of stickers that all coordinate with these colors. So if you want to go all out on color coordinating and like make your to-dos align with your goals, you can totally do that. And I think that's really fun. But I also want to say this, If you don't even want to worry about the colors, 100% fine. You can just be like, these are pretty colors. No worries whatsoever. So if that feels like a lot for you, just don't even worry about that part. And then we also give you some prompts in the stickers pages of, we picked a few areas that we thought a lot of you would have. So especially if you're feeling like, I don't know what area to choose, just peel off a sticker for your area and stick it on there. That's as simple as it is. You just simply use a sticker that we've provided for you. So for focus area 1, for me, that was cleaning and organization. So kind of like maintaining the house in that way. So you'll just write that in the blank if you're coming up with your own, or use the sticker that's included with the planner, place that there. And then the numbers under that are designed for you to rate how you're doing overall in that area. I love looking at this year to year to see, like, how did I feel like I'm doing in the area of cleaning and organization? I rated myself at an 8. Now, here's where I want to address all my overthinkers. I'm right there with you. Don't overthink this. No one's going to grade you. No one's going to be like, you said 8, but I really think you were more like a 7. I promise. Just whatever your gut tells you, go with that. This is not meant to be something that you overthink. And then these are just some prompts and questions to get you thinking about this. So you're thinking about this area in cleaning and organization. What made me happy? And I like to kind of think over the past year. If you're doing a refresh, and we have some specific a refresh workbook if you want to refresh this every quarter, I would think back over just the quarter. But for the beginning of the year, we're going to think back over the year. What made me happy in the past year in this area? So for me, it was new turntables for organizing, photo boxes. I really dove into using those for organization, and I loved those. And added more closet space. I love that. So those were kind of my wins in that area. It can be like accomplishments and things that made you happy. Then what made me sad? So these are things that you'd hope to accomplish that you didn't, or things that just didn't work out so well in the past year. So not customizing my closets, just leaving what was there. My messy garage made me sad. I always planned to get to it, but I never did. And I was really inconsistent with my cleaning habits, and those are things that made me sad. So I'm just kind of thinking that through, so we're not, again, overthinking it. And then the next area is things to improve. This is one of my favorites. So this is literally where I brainstorm, and it can be really, really messy. This one's fairly neat, but sometimes I use the other part and it's just really messy and it's not even all lined up. That's okay. This is like the place where I want you to get messy and just brainstorm all the things that you want to improve. I want you to not have any of those like lingering thoughts in your head that I didn't write it down, I needed to do this. You get all your thoughts out here. You don't have to worry about making it neat. We're going to do that on the next page. So whatever it is that you want to work on, and it can be from small to big. Nothing is too small, nothing is too big. So for me, it was customizing the closets. It kind of makes sense, from what made me sad. I want to work on getting a clean sink daily, organizing my garage, getting in the habit of putting away my clothes every day, organizing my storage area, and creating a good cleaning schedule that I can stick with. So those are the things that I would like to work on. I'm not saying that I will even work on those this year or worrying about when, but these are the things I want to improve in this area. And then I love this question. It's like my favorite one. I don't know, this question has brought me so much clarity over the years. And it's, if I could only improve one thing in this area by the end of this year, what would I want it to be? So this really helps you to prioritize, and you look back on what you wrote down and you're like, okay, picture the end of the year. I only got one of these things done. What do I want it to be? For me, it's customized closets. So that way I know what's important to me. And then I also really love this, what I will let go. So in every area, we know that we have things that we're just not going to be able to focus on in that year or season. And identifying those ahead of time and taking even just a minute to think about it consciously can be so helpful. You can let these things go without guilt. They can be something from your things to improve that you already know you're not going to do. And if so, I usually indicate that there, I already know this is not the year or the season to work on that. So I will let go of perfection in cleaning and organization. It doesn't have to be Pinterest perfect. And even though I wrote organizing my storage area on my things I want to improve, and that is something someday I hope to do, I realized this is not going to be the year for that. So I just went ahead and wrote it on what I will let go. So that's how you fill out the left side. When you get to the right side, what you're going to do is you're going to take the things that you wrote in things to improve, and you're going to make these neat and tidy and good next steps. So I usually like to think, I don't necessarily fill out this whole thing. In fact, I rarely do. Obviously you can, but I go ahead and I'm like, what are the next 3 or 4 things I might want to work on? And I write those down. Now, one thing that's really important to note here is when I write these down, I am not committing to doing those at any particular time. I'm not even committing to doing those this year. Some of them I get to this year, but it's not like I'm saying, these are the things I want to do this year. I'm saying, these are the next 3 or 4 things in this area that I want to work on. Not giving them a time, that comes when we make our monthly action plan. So that makes this part easier because I'm not dealing with the stress of when they have to get done. I'm not committing to something that's hard to get done or that I don't know. I'm just saying these are the next things I want to work on. So you're going to write those down. And then your next step, and this step is pretty easy, you identify whether it is a habit or a project. And this is going to be really important because we can work on we can get a lot of projects done in a month, depending on, how complicated they are. But it is not a good idea to try to work on too many habits at once. So let's first make sure we understand what a project and a habit is. So a project is something that you do. It can take just an hour or an afternoon, or it can take, multiple steps over many days or weeks, but it's done and then you move on. So whereas a habit is something that you don't want to have an endpoint. It's not like, I want to wash my dishes. Okay, that's done. I'm done washing my dishes. I'm never doing any, no. I mean, if I want to wash my dishes every day, that's something that I don't want to end. It's not like I want to keep going. It's an ongoing habit. So, for example, a project would be, I'd like to reorganize my pantry. Now, while that could take you several days, or, maybe there's a part where you plan, then you buy the bins, and then you take everything out, and you put everything back, and you label it. Like, it could have several steps, but it gets done. So now it's organized. I reorganized it. But if I wanted to work on maintaining it, so putting everything back, or maybe specifically every time I go grocery shopping, re-straightening it and putting them back, that doesn't really have an end. I want to keep doing that on it like indefinitely. So that would be a habit. So that's a difference between projects and habits. And of course, to make this more fun, we gave you stickers that color coordinate in the back so that you can just put the sticker for whether it's project or habit. And that's all you have to do. So, you're done with focus area 1, and then you would move on to your second focus area. I usually do, and I would recommend that you do this, I go ahead and identify what all up to six focus areas are before I fill out each one. So I would go ahead and do that. So for me, focus area 2 was finances. I rated how I was doing in this area. It was a 9. What made me happy was buying a new house. And monthly budget reconciling. What made me sad was waiting until the end of the month to categorize in the budget. So I was happy that I was doing the monthly reconciling, but I should have kept up with it so it wasn't like overwhelming at the end of the month. Too much DoorDash. It just was an expense that was probably unnecessary. And it wasn't like, I didn't feel like it was the best use of my money. Things that I want to improve. I want to eat out and do less DoorDash. I want to be reconciling my finances daily to make it just super easy. Pay for a new porch and have more regular finance meetings with my husband. If I could only do one thing, for me, it was the daily reconciling. I thought that would just make a huge difference. And since this was last year, I'm happy to report that I am doing that. And it has made a huge difference. And what I will let go, I'm not going to work on reducing clothing spending. I just don't want to worry about that right now. It's an area that I'm comfortable spending more in, and it's important to me. And paying off the house early is something that we've done with all our other houses. And I realize that's something that is not a good goal for us right now. So I just need to let that idea go. And then I broke these down. You can see I broke it down into reconciling daily was a habit, which I have accomplished. Eating and cooking at home more, that's also a habit because it's not like you do it once. It's not like cook, like if it were to host a dinner party, that is a project. Like I do it once and I'm done. But eating and cooking at home more in general is a ongoing habit. Paying for a new porch, that's a one and done project. We'll get the porch done, paid for, and then we'll move on. And having regular finance meetings with my husband is a ongoing habit. We don't want to stop that at any point. Most habits are daily, but you can have like weekly or monthly things as well. That's, some of them would be weekly. Like I'm not going to have a daily meeting with my husband. It's more like weekly or monthly. And then, just keep on going with your next focus areas. I won't walk you through all of them, but I hope that gives you an idea of how to set this up. So you'll sit down 1 to 2 hours at the beginning of the year and get this done. And then at the beginning of every month, you're going to make your action plan. Once you've done this beginning prep work, your action plan is so easy. And I actually do these every month in our Insiders membership. I go through, or someone on my team goes through, and we set aside time to do this together. And every single time I continue to be amazed at how fast it is because we've already done the prep work. And I'm like, man, I mean, this video is only like 8 minutes long because that's legit how long it took. So once you've done this, this part is so easy, but it's so critical. I mean, those 10 minutes are just some of the most valuable minutes that you're going to spend in your entire month. So, we'll start with January, but I want to say the most important and most critical thing about this is that every single month, you're going to have a clean slate. So let's say this were the middle, it's June, and I didn't get, let's say I actually have a time when I got 0 goals accomplished, only once since I've done this whole system. I have an entire video on it. I'll link down below if you want to hear all about that. But even if you got 0 goals accomplished, you're not going to automatically carry them over, or you're not going to be like, okay, I still need to come back to, let's say it's June. I still need to come back to May and complete these. Plus I'm adding June on top of it. Nope. Clean slate. You're starting with, okay, it's June. We're starting where we are with whatever we've gotten done and what do I want to get done this month. So you always give yourself a clean slate. And then you'll go to the goal setting page. And in each focus area, so you'll see that there's focus areas 1 through 6 and they correlate back to the focus areas that you had. So focus area 1, the bright pink. So I come to focus area 1, cleaning and organization. And the first thing that I do is the scale down here, I rate myself that month, how am I doing? And again, no overthinking, just in general, how am I doing on this? I find it so fascinating to look back over the year and see how I rated myself. I'll see that like for the first 3 months, one thing I gave myself a low rating and then I started doing really well and things like that. I just think it's really fun. So you'll rate yourself and then you will pick one goal for that area. So you'll pick which of these projects, or if you have space for a new habit, which of these am I gonna work on? And you'll pick one from your goals and you'll write it here. So that's your goal from that area. That simple. And you'll just do that for each area. Now, I also want to say I don't cross them off or like mark them as complete until it's actually done. So I'm not going to mark it as complete when I write it here on the action plan because I don't know 100% for sure if it's going to get done. So I'll wait until it's done and then I'll mark it complete here and in the original spot. Also, if you get all of these done, wonderful, you can just add a few more as you go. And lastly, I want to make sure that it's clear that you do not have to have a goal in every focus area every month. You can. A lot of people like to do that. I think the important thing is that you're considering each area each month. So you're taking a little bit of time to think about it. How am I doing in this area? Is there something I want to work on? And a lot of times, if it's a really busy season, I will only pick 2 or 3 areas, or if I know I'm going all in on one area. So I know that I'm working super hard on the house and I'm focusing on that and I don't want to focus as much on other areas, I won't necessarily have a goal in every area. And also, if you get one done in that area and you want to add another one, you always can. There's times when I'm really on it or there's smaller projects that I do get more than one done. And that's literally all there is to it. It's that simple. Now, I really want to say that there is actually something I think you should do before you get to goal setting. And that is make sure you have a good system for planning your days, because you could plan the best goals in the entire universe, but if you don't have control over what you're getting done the day by day, because that is when they actually happen, then it's not going to matter. So I always suggest starting with planning your days. So if you feel like you don't have a system for that right now, then I want you to go right now, watch the video. It'll be linked below. It's called the 3-bucket system. It's less than 10 minutes, not hard to watch, not hard to do, and make sure you have that solid system for planning your days, and that will help you execute on whatever plan you made here.